The funny thing is, next month when I do my talk, it'll be like 4 people.
Actually, there was, right?
And Dave will come by and go like, ah! Keep going. I do the same for him.
I didn't know we were doing a conference. Well, welcome to the March Omaha Linux Users Group. I am John Larson, a systems engineer at AIM. Welcome. I don't have a clicker, so I got. What's been going on? Hey, look! Raspberry Pi 3's out. Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and Wi-Fi and Bluetooth LE. So this is supposed to be 50 to 60% faster than the 2, I believe. Same footprint, same everything. So you're familiar with it. How many people knew that the Linux Mint website got hacked? All right. So you know the details, I don't have to talk about it. It's like if you download the ISO, they even mess with the hash. Yeah. Okay. OpenSSL 102G came out today. So if you're running a site with OpenSSL, you probably want to make sure that your vendor has got some updates. There's at least 6 vulnerabilities that were fixed. One of those was a remote code exploit. Yes.
One of them worked around?
Yes. Yeah. Yep. That came out this morning. There was a lot of people who were saying it was going to happen today, so there was some amount of fair warning about it. I started running out of things to put up there, so I just said, LibreOffice 5.1's out, which has now some GTK3 menus coming into the tree for that. So a little bit nicer looking prospects. So how many people here are familiar with Infotech? Yay! So I have some pamphlets here for you.
Is there a super secret code on it?
Craig, you can give away all my thunder. So there's a special rate
Because I need to get
for
signed up.
OLUG people.
Oh, yeah.
Use the word, use the code user group for your complimentary registration. So this is coming up the 21st of this month.
I'm actually going to be there this year.
Yay!
It's only one day this year, right?
It's only one day this year. It's not 2 days.
And it's in March instead of April.
That's less sleep that I will lose this year. Nice. Charles, you want? You're gonna be out of town.
Yep, that's it.
Okay.
How was the info group participating?
They're a sponsor?
Oh.
I don't know.
That's good.
These were hot off the press after 5 o'clock.
Right.
That's all I know. This was sort of like at 4:30. I got a Slack message. You guys want to register? Yeah, sure. So there you go. For those people at home, the 2 viewers, go to infotech.org and you can register. Don't wait. Don't know how long it'll last.
You can prove that you're a full-time student. It's just free.
Well, if you're a student, you probably still get in. But I don't know what the student code is. Might be student. I wasn't prepared for that question actually, because nobody.
Password.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I actually messed with some Chromium OS stuff today. Put on a really old laptop, and the password is password. Any things happening in the world of Linux that I didn't list? I'm looking at Aaron.
3.
Yes.
ZFS, is it going to be in Ubuntu or not? That's going to be a big question, because that comes up some legal issues. But ZFS is this incredibly cool file system created by Sun way back in the day. Does everything BetterFS does, and all the other file systems do, all in one piece. It's been available as a Linux module for a long time, but you can't distribute it with it. But Ubuntu says they're going to, even though it's licensed in the CDDL instead of the GPL, so there's a nice conflict there, which would be interesting to see how that gets resolved. Number 2, SCO is dead. The lawsuit.
I just saw that right before we came up here.
It's finally hopefully over now.
As the blog post said, undeniably and reliably dead.
There was a holding company that had the lawsuit because they were now going after torturous interference. Because way back in the day, there's something called Project Monterey, which was an attempt to get SCO Unix and IBM AIX combined together on an AMD 64 platform. And IBM said, we'll just do Linux. And that's totally screwed SCO out of existence. And number 3 is the GPL is going to court in Germany. The VMware GPL thing is actually going to be very interesting how that goes, because that's Christopher Hellwig, the guy who does a lot of those lawsuit stuff, is actually going to go to court because there's nothing else VMware really can do besides that. So if that goes to court, that will either validate or invalidate the GPL in the European Union and stuff like that, and that'll, through a wonderful variety of trade agreements and stuff, some of that will apply over here, but it'll actually give some validation to it. Because he's not going to back down. The only thing is, right. I think VMware's saying he doesn't have enough standing to file because he hasn't triggered enough kernel, but he has done a sufficient amount that I think the judge says he can move forward. Should be interesting. Yeah, so that's 3 interesting legal things.
Yeah, because there's a lot of governments in the European Union that are using open source software over. Well, Craig's already registered. Mike's registered.
I'm not taking chances.
So when you did the code, did it apply properly? Okay, good.
All right. Yeah, don't put a space in the middle of it like.
And I don't think the case matters. Because I asked, does the case matter if it's uppercase you or not? It's like, maybe, maybe not.
It did on mine.
It did?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had to do a capital unit. All right.
There's a code if you want to go to input. It's not on that piece of paper. This is super secret.
Yeah. It's
User group.
It's all one word because it's a very good discount. Okay.
Nobody home. Someone hit his window?
The door open.
There you go. For those who are late.
Oh, that's what the discussion was, about what happened.
Yeah. Exactly. So, just to get this out of the way, next month, Aaron's going to talk about Let's Encrypt, which was supposed to be the February meeting, but whose car?
As long as it's not a green Subaru.
I was going to say, you put the super sit by the window.
Everybody.
Don't look at me, I didn't drive here.
That's a good comeback.
No.
Yay!
Safe.
So, Aaron will be doing Let's Encrypt. I think that'll be an equally cool presentation.
No.
As he had a little bit more time to present on his from the nice weather. We're still looking for May, June, August, September, October, and the lightning stuff in December. So, I think you were on that list, aren't you?
Not it. Yes, I'm still considering.
Yeah.
I can carve out some time.
Okay.
I may just use the project we're taking to okay.
Oh, I see. Okay. Not the Family Feud unit.
No, I talked myself onto the team, and then sat there with Hader while he was coming up with questions, and he included me because I knew all the professionals, even before everybody voted.
All right then. So tonight, Dave is going to talk about Ansible. All right. All right. So let's do a little technical switch around.
No sparks. Looks good. And
We didn't test this, so. Wait.
yay! All right.
I guess the best thing is, what do you think of this location?
Can we keep it?
Can we keep it? Can you hear me a lot better than you could
Yes.
over there?
Yes.
No echo.
There is no echo.
There's no echo. It's poor light.
It's not like it's really dark. Although we actually switched all the bulbs out in there now. There's white lights to yellow light. So it looks a little bit better. What's that?
Look at the whole game's video.
But yeah, if we did a switcheroo with Interface School tonight because they had an event, and I've been kind of wanting to test it anyway. So maybe it'd be semi-permanent. If I can get a screen installed, I think that'll be even better. But the white wall isn't really too bad.
But I got a red wall.
Okie doke.
My goodness. You know, the one thing I didn't do as I started this was the play the song.
Oh, up top right. Present.
John, is that why the pizza's here just for interface?
It was for Interface School. If anybody wants pizza or soda, there's stuff over there if you're hungry. They gave that to us as part of the switch around. So.
Yeah, that's it. That works.
Okay. Okay.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Dave.
Hi, Dave.
So tonight I'm going to talk about an introduction to Ansible. Ansible calls themselves a radically simple IT automation system. And who am I? I am Dave Thacker. I'm the Senior Linux Administrator for Gordman Store. I have been using Ansible for a year, slowly working through and getting more competent. If you want to talk to me, you can get me at dthacker9@gmail.com or Twitter at Dave Thacker. Talk to me. Back.
That's slide 3, maybe 4.
There we are. Okay. Ansible's vital statistics. The project was created by Michael DeHaan. Michael DeHaan also wrote Cobbler, which is an earlier configuration management engine. Initial release was January 2012. Currently, as of probably about 2 weeks, current version is 2.0.1. By now, there's probably a 2.1. It's a new GPL license. It's sponsored by Ansible Incorporated, and there's their website. Ansible makes money by selling support and by selling a product called Tower, which is a GUI interface with all kinds of bells, whistles, and security things in front of Ansible. Also, as of October 2015, Red Hat owns Ansible, and as we'll talk a little bit later, they're pushing things quite forward. The name of Ansible I thought it was coined by Orson Scott Card in Ender's Game. That's where I was familiar with. But actually, there's a science fiction author, Ursula K. Le Guin, who first coined that in 1966. And since that time, Card and several other science fiction authors have been use that. So why a configuration manager? Well, when I started in my current position, my boss said, I need to go a server. Here, would you please build a server for me? And these are the notes that I always use when I build these. And he handed me a text file. And that was great when we started out, but we now have 4 times as many server count as there were 2 years ago when I started. There's still only one of me. So more, faster. Can we please have that new VM ready for Monday? Yeah. Or Friday, or as today, I got one for Friday. And better. Put out a better build that doesn't have all the things in it that didn't work in the last build, or has the right things that some of our more exotic applications require. Why Ansible? Well, Ansible is simple. It does not use agents. I have fought with CF Engine, and I have fought with Puppet, and getting those either up even to a proof of concept had been pretty interesting. The main document in Ansible is the playbook, and it's a YAML configuration file, and it's pretty self-documenting, which is good when you're trying to figure something out at 2 a.m. Secure, well, as secure as you're inside the firewall, I will say. But it is using SSH, and you should keep your SSH up to date. It's written by a standard program. It's written by Python. No, I'm not picking on root, but maybe I'm a little. And it's idempotent. And I love to say that, idempotent. The term is used to, when you, I'm going to read this, that'll work for the best. The term can also be used as describing an initiation subroutine that is arranged to perform some critical entry exactly once, even if it's called several times. And in Ansible, what that means is as you run through playbooks, only the things that you are have changed or are going to change actually are changed. Things that were already okay, they pass right on by. Installation. Right now, Ansible is for in Red Hat, SunOS, and Fedora. It's still at 1.9.4, which is pretty much the last production version before they jumped into 2. Debian goes all the way back to 1.72 for stable, and you can go get the latest, greatest in SID. And Ubuntu has kind of lost track of the Ubuntu names. Wiley is at 1.9.2. Is that a long term?
No, Xenial's the long term.
Xenial's long. Well,
Wiley's the current release. Xenial comes out in April.
Okay. Xenial is at 2.0.2, which is right up there. So, Ansible dependencies. You must have Python. You must have SSH. Outside of those two things, when When I pulled in my CentOS 6.7, which is what I used to build my stuff tonight, because I was short on time and I'm used to it. You only get a few extra things. You've got some YAML things for Python and some extra Python modules and an SSH pass module. So 11 packages. That's not too many. So I will now say a quick note on VM templates. The Gordman's is currently has no physical Linux anywhere anymore. We have review. There's all Linux are in virtual machines, and even the biggest bad ones, they might have on a VMware platform with a single guest, but everything is virtualized. And when I started to look through this, and as I started to get into my own template sprawl, I started looking for things to do a better job at template. And so the things that I've tried to take out of some of the reading that I've done, including the gentleman's URL who's on the slide here. First of all, less is more. Don't keep as few templates as possible. That can be sometimes a struggle with some of the applications that we have, but as we get more things into Ansible, we were able to get more things out of the template. You have enough. There's enough fun patching things without patching another 50 templates. So, automation is king. Keep the templates as vanilla as possible in the OS. Critical patches and automation tools. And in that case, we'll talk about that. Avoid treasure hunts. Keep very good documentation on your version of templates, which my personal treasure hunt was we had a template that had pre-installed some Oracle things, but it wasn't noted as such. So spent about half a day spinning up templates. No, that's not it. Let's do another one. No, that's not it. So those are the things that I try to take with and use from now. So in my environment at Gordman's, when I build a Linux template, these are the things I do. I will build the latest Brando Linux, which is wheat lead red. That's all I'm going to say. And I will update the latest update. I will run one update on Package Manager so that at the latest point in time, I've got everything current. After the operating system, I will put in VMware tools because it is a dog to sit there and put it on there, and I don't want to do it over and over and over again. And I will create an Ansible user. That's pretty much the only user outside of the operating system, the base operating system, that I have in there. So then I get one of these. Dave, I need a server built. And I will, to build from template, I will spin that up, connect it to the network. In our particular environment, our network is assigned. It's not DHCP. So when I bring them up, I go ahead and put those static IPs in there. I push an SSH key from my Ansible server into the target server so that I can do my passwordless login. Test my connection, update the Ansible server. Oh, and it should have said update the Ansible server inventory, which we will talk about that, and then I'll run some playbooks. So let's go back from where we would build our template, and let's go back to the Ansible server. And we're going to start with building an inventory and running some test ad hoc commands. And I'm going to step down here. Okay. There you are. Okay. So Ansible will install in home Ansible, but it puts a lot of configurations in the etc Ansible directory. I preferred, after reading, I found that people had said, put the stuff in with the playbooks, and I found that a lot easier to use. So the first thing that I do is take a little spin over to Ansible. Yes, it is. Oh, yeah. No, I'm not hurt. Okay. There's a lot of stuff that, and I'm not going to run through every inventory, every piece of configuration in here. But my key thing that I set is the inventory is set in etc Ansible hosts, and I redirect that over to home Ansible playbooks hosts because that's where I want all of my host files to get to. The only thing I change right now is because has anybody ever run cowsay in here?
I'm not familiar with that.
Okay. So, I got the Ansible documentation said your Ansible experience will be enhanced by installing cowsay.
Okay.
So I did that and decided, no, I didn't want that. So I've got that. I've got the I have got it commented out. So anyway, okay. So let's get back out of here.
So the inventory server, it doesn't really matter how many servers are in the inventory. It's thousands if you want.
Yeah. Yes. And I've got, and you can get to be a pretty large inventory because you put different groups in it. I'll show you that now. So in my home Ansible playbooks, I have a host, and this is a very simple one, of course. So I have all servers, and actually, that's got a problem there, because it should have all the servers. Because if there's something that I want to do to everything, that's the list. Then I have groups. So here I've created an Apache group, I've had an Nginx group, and a Maria, as in MariaDB. In my environment, we have a dev and a test and a prod. So I have a dev that has all the devs, a test that has all the tests, and a prod that has all the prods. And then I have things that group like databases, specific applications, and specific. I have, for instance, I have a set of JBoss servers that are clustered, and a set of JBosses that are not clustered. So they have different stuff in them. So they have different groups inside the host file. If you don't like to name this host, you could go call it anything you want to. All you need to do is go back to the configuration and change that. Okay, so in running an ad hoc command. So there are two things that I've done here to get my ad hoc command done. I think I left out one of my template pieces, and I did. In my environment, I have elected to give Ansible sudo to root. So I have two things in here. I push the SSH key, and then inside the template, which is not running. Oh no, not the template. Let's do that one. I'm letting him in the house. If you don't want to do this, you can, when you do your invoke to your playbooks, you can say, there are arguments for changing sudo or not changing sudo, and there are also arguments for passing a password in or at the time or prompting for a password. So anyway, do this back out. Caps lock. Okay, so running back into here. Okay, so I created ad hoc. In ad hoc, you're just running something from the shell. I went ahead and built a quick shell for this. So Ansible. And ad hocs are a great way to test how your connectivity is doing.
That's your group to all.
Right. And I started with all, and I changed that to all server. And no found. Okay. Some more. All server singular. Thank you. Sorry, I had to check that. So let's just go check for host names.
So it's going to check against the inventory.
Yeah. It'll run everything in those top 4, and you'll see that.
So it's actually going to the physical boxes and pulling
Yeah.
out the.
And so you're telling right now, well, Web 3 and Web 4 are actually not powered on right now. So it's going to tell you that it's got a problem. But Web 2 came back and Web 1 came back. So they've got my host name in there.
So you're essentially running ad hoc commands in the system.
Right.
If you did, could you actually pass like PS aux?
Yes.
Okay.
Sometimes there are things like last week I had there was a logging application from our InfoSec group that said, you know, we're not getting all of these logs. And I said, really? Okay. So I looked at one of them and found out that there's a specific varlog message in there. So I just ran all servers varlog and catted varlog message, and then grepped for the pattern I wanted, and I had all the servers very quickly. I had all the servers that had a problem.
Before, I would always use like cluster SSH, and I'd have like 15 to 20 terminals across the session and doing that. It seems a bit faster.
So, and then let's see, what else? What was the other one? So with the ad hoc command, there are also arguments, and therefore it will parallel execute. You can say do that or don't do that, and you can limit how many parallel times it comes out. Okay, so I think.
So not only is it geared towards building machines, but managing the machines after they've been built.
Yes. Okay, so we know we've got an inventory, and we know that we can run ad hoc. So we set Ansible.cfg, populated that. We've ran our ad hocs. So let's build a little playbook, a very little playbook. So playbooks are written in YAML. With the extension. And I apologize because
the colors.
The color scheme is not cool. So
Can you expand it or zoom in?
He's inside of a virtual machine. Can you do a SYN space off?
What was that?
SYN space off.
Yeah.
You're in VI, right?
Yeah.
You can do : go to command mode and type SYN space off.
Much better. Okay. So the first thing that always tells all YAML files is the three dashes. Next, under this, it will have a list of hosts. Now, it's either you can either put a specific host or the groups that we talked about in the inventory. Right now, I've got everything set to. I'm going to change this from 1 to 2 because I did all my testing on 1, and 2 is pretty much untouched right now. I'm telling it, yep, I do want to use sudo, and then I give it a little task or a list of tasks. In the tasks, you have a dash followed by name, and that gives you an English. That's where you put your list of what an English sentence or string what you're going to do. So this first thing I'm going to do is, for my Zabbix monitoring system, I need a group for that. So I'm going to put an action in, and the action here has a group telling you what the name is and what the GID is. And I'm using the group module to do that. Then the second thing is, for the user, I'm doing the same thing. I'm making a user group after I have that, and I'm using the user module for that. It's not probably going to be. So in the ad hoc, we just ran Ansible, but we are now going to run Ansible playbook. Okay, it's going to tell you what I'm doing. First thing it says, oh no, no password.
SSH.
SSH.
You need to do copy. Key.
Yeah, I mean, I have. No, it's not SSH first, it's copy SSH ID, right?
I think it's SSH copy. It's like SSH hyphen.
There we
Then
go.
you got -I. And then you do the path to the pub file, and then you do the IP.
I'm just gonna. It will do this by default, but so I'm just gonna cheat.
Okay.
Okay. Try it again. No. Still have a problem. Okay.
Do we know it's running? Control. Okay.
Yeah, it's a.
Do we know if the Ansible user exists? Okay. And that Ansible has sudo.
That's it right there. Yep. Okay, so. Yeah, so.
Have you write an Ansible config to log on with a prompted password and update the sudo file?
There, you can. I haven't gotten that far yet. I've found people that do it. I found a guy who did a role, which is above hierarchies in playbooks, that was very, very concerned about backing up sudo. So he has a role that goes through and logs in, backs everything up, puts the new string in, and does some other precautions to make sure that your sudo is not munched. Okay. Not you, this one. Oh, that's much better. Okay. So the first thing it did is it said, gathering facts. When Ansible runs, it goes, it gathers a lot of information out of your hosts. And there's an extremely long JSON output that will tell you all the things that happen. It'll tell you the CPUs you're running, the disks that you have, your MAC addresses, all that stuff. So that you can use the facts that you have gotten from your
like
run.
switches.
Right.
Okay.
You can use that for switches, or you could use them to, for instance, if I'm putting a Zabbix client in, I need to put the host name in the client. So I go in and pull through, and I say, go get me the current host name, and then put that into that Zabbix client. Then it's telling the next two things are the two tasks I ran, and they both say changed, and they were successful. And at the bottom, it gives you the recap that says, okay, 3, changed things were 3, unreachable, no, failed, no. So that is an extremely simple playbook. Okay, adding something. Hey, we're in development, so we're turning off IP tables because those admins are pestering me all the time.
Does that mean that they're sectioned off in their own DNZ? Here, use backspace key. Oops.
Okay, so we're going to add that. And
You can actually deploy that as part of Ansible to go through and shut off that service then.
I can do that, or I can just, right now I'll just turn it off. We'll do some more later. Okay, this is the same. This is the only thing we added to this are, we added the EPL repository too.
That's still on web one.
Yeah, you're making the change to
Oh,
web.
that's on web 1. Okay. Let's go fix that.
What are the implications of breaking that in mid, other than
I haven't.
those commands are not gonna
It's probably
run for you?
It's probably gonna leave you some. It's probably gonna leave some garbage in your logs, but it's not gonna stop you from running it again. Okay. So this one's gonna add EPEL because all my JBoss guys like HTOP. Yeah.
That's the only reason why.
No, it's not the only reason, but it's one of the reasons.
Well, Ansible's in that repository anyway, isn't it?
Yes.
EPL?
Yes, it is. So this might take a little longer.
Do you have an internet connection?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Just checking.
Yep. At least it was when we started.
You still got bars, but I don't know where you're connecting.
Exchange guest.
Oh, yeah, that's in the hallway.
I just wonder if it's not waiting to say, you sure you want to install this key?
No.
Apple signing key?
Did you say Apple signing key?
Apple.
Oh. Sorry. So much
No,
Apple
but
stuff in
you
the news.
on there. So it said okay. Yep. So it installed EPELT and it shut down IP tables, and it said All right, out of everything I did, I had okay. 5 are okay. Only 2 of them changed. Okay. Okay. So the next thing we're going to talk about are variables. So there are times when you want a specific string or you want to pull a specific other argument out, and you do that by, there are 2 ways that you can do variables. One of them is you can define them at the top of their playbook, or you can actually set a var YAML file if you've got a lot of them in there. So this one, I'm going to run this, and I'm going to set the message of the day. I'm going to set the message of the day to only use for Acme.
Did you want to change that on Web2?
I am going to do W2, that's why.
Did you also mean to have the typo in destination MODT? I didn't know if that was a watch what happens if it didn't happen.
Well, since that would not, it would probably set, it would create that file, but it wouldn't do for the message of the day. Okay, so.
So for, it's got the EPL again.
Mm-hmm.
Is it going to check that it exists before this?
No. Yes, it'll see it, and it'll see it, and it'll go through. By the way, on this one, I also had to throw in a Python SE Linux, because when I tried to create this SE message of the day, it came back and said, you have a problem with SE Linux. So
you are running SE Linux?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm reformed.
You're reformed?
Okay, so this one just did putting in Python SE Linux, and it added the message of the day. It skipped everything else. It did not try and run EPEL again. So let's see here. Okay, we added variables. Handlers. Handlers are things that you run once, and they're usually used for restarts or reboots. And a handler would be, you know, I've just updated the kernel, but I need to restart it. Or I just added a configuration to Apache, and I need to restart Apache. They are also go backwards again. Yeah, escape. They are also defined at the top of the playbook. What am I doing on time? Okay, I gotta go faster. It's almost beer time.
It's always beer time.
Only beer 30, didn't get there.
Okay. Back into here. So we'll get into this one too. We're gonna do as soon as I say oh, that's using PB5. Let's look at that one. That was how to default that was how to use it.
Time server. Okay.
Okay, so here
Defining a variable file.
I'm setting a handler, and I'm saying it's a restart for NTPD. Name is NTPD. Restart is their state is restarted, and then I could have state, of course, for stop or start or even status. The other thing that I'm going that I also changed in here is that instead of using a var, this time I'm using a var file. The var file, and I'm going to change before I do that there. Vars. It's again another simple YAML dot 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 or dash dash dash. The comment is the message of the day, and then message of the day warning is the message of the day is the message of the day. And we're done. So there are lots of different syntax that you can add to this. I can add loops in here. So for instance, I have a loop for all of the things that my application people want to have. You know, HTOP, netcat, all the little things that they have.
My top?
My top, tree. Just little things that make life easier and better. And I have those in a long list, and I say, just iterate through that list, and it will run through that. I'm just scratching the surface on the syntax on this. So
if you pass that as status command rather than restart, does that actually give you feedback?
Yes, you will see what the status is will come out in the log.
Is it possible on the restarts that if you have it against 5 of your web servers, you can do them sequentially and make sure the restart was successful on the previous one?
Yes, I haven't tried anything like that yet, but you can sequence things, and you can put things.
Like maybe like putting like a sleep command in.
Yeah.
You know. So that's not, you're not taking down all 10 of your web servers at the exact same time.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I know that there are some roles where you can do rolling updates, and then you would probably be able to, you would probably adapt that to a rolling restart. Okay, so the last thing.
Restart the whole thing at once.
What, you want to live forever?
Technically. There could be only one.
There could be only one. Okay, so let's hop out of here.
Unless the last two decide they want to cooperate.
Okay.
Not likely given the history of those movies, though.
So the last demo part I'm going to talk about, and I'll just tell you right now, out of all the demos I've done tonight, I haven't gotten a chance to run this. So maybe it will work, maybe it won't. Okay, so the last thing, and the thing that makes it so powerful for Ansible, is roles. And roles allow you to take your monolithic playbook, because you might have the first time I got done with all the playbook to build a Linux server after I got done, when I put all the things that my boss wanted to fix and the admins or the infosec wanted to fix and the developers wanted to fix, I had about 45 directives in there. So that's a long. And then you start to get into the same thing as templates with crawls, because you're going to have, well, I've got a playbook that has this playbook has all of the standard OS stuff and Apache. This one has all of the standard stuff and the Oracle application stuff. This one has all this extra stuff and the scheduling software. So then you've got templates going all over the place. Instead of templates, you have playbooks. So when you have a big playbook, you can build that into smaller reusable pieces. And those can be called by other roles. And the tasks can be reused by other roles.
It's like a task, a piece could be all the NTP servers get set.
Right.
And then just gets reused and all.
So I'll walk through how they do this, and I'll try one chance on the, I'll try one shot to make it work. And then, because it, like I said, I did not get a chance to tie this last one. Okay, so back in here. And I am going to use tree. This tree is very helpful to see this. Okay. So okay. In the playbooks, Ansible is looking for a file called a directory called roles. So each role is pretty much like a mini playbook. So for instance, where's mine? I have a role called base OS. And those are things that I'm always going to do. You know, I'm always going to make sure NTP is running. I'm always going to make sure that I'm going to make sure that SE Linux is okay. Not so depending on what part of the environment I am. And you know, if it's Oracle, I'm going to make sure it has an Oracle. Or I'm always going to have a Zabbix client, because almost every Linux is monitored by that. So those are the things that are, I consider base OS. So when you look in the base OS role, you have training.
You're in the base OS.
Oh, I'm in there. Let's just do trade. Okay, so you have, I see one typo right there. So each role has a set of directories, and it's looking for different things inside of them. The tasks that you are in a playbook are in a main.y. It's in a main, and the other thing is, as you iterate through the roles, it's looking for main.yaml to fix things up and run. So in tasks, I have all the things that I had in my other playbook, but I don't have to worry about a host, and I don't have to worry about sudo. All that stuff is covered by the top level of the role. Vars also are in main.yml. There's our message of the day variable in there. And then, so you can pull in as many of the roles that you want into your top level playbook. And here is what an X role does. Here's my example for. So your top level is very, very short. It's going to tell you one thing. It's going to say what host or host group are you going to do, and which roles you're going to use. And the roles are, there might be there might be packages that you're going to put in, or there might be users that you're going to create, or security settings, or things. This particular one is set up for base OS, and then it doesn't install Apache. And I'm going to try it. We'll see if it works. If it blows up, I'm not going to worry about it. No. Taskmaster. Okay. So I've got some syntax errors. Well, and I'm not going to push those through because I have a few more things to talk about. Okay. So roles. Roles are the thing that lets you can scale up and you can scale back down. And that's the thing that allows you to really extend Ansible out and to make it fit without it. It lets you get the custom fit for the different servers that you have to build, or the different pieces of maintenance that you have to do. So let's go back here. Okay, so a few more things. All right, so 2.0, I told you it was coming out. It came out a week ago or two. And what did they do in 2.0? Well, they spent a lot of time on refactoring code. It's supposed to go faster. And it's supposed to be a lot cleaner. It has task blocks, which are modeled after try, expect, and finally from Python. So it lets you have better recovery from a problem as it goes through. Right now in the 1.9 stuff, if I have something that's broken, it's going to stop. And I'm going to have to go fix it, and then I'll have to rerun it again. And it can be infuriating. It can be a little infuriating if you're not cleaned up. Yep.
What you just said, if it's broken, you have to run it again.
Yes.
How do you get, say it's broken, but it's still able to partially create the user?
No, it'll say no. Your syntax, like that one, was for syntax on HTTP, and it wasn't going to run. The yum my yum syntax is incorrect. So it will not run the yum. If you were doing users and you did the arguments for the user module were incorrect, it's just not going to run it. It'll stop and throw you in error.
Okay, well, say, I guess what I'm getting at is the idempotent part of it, where it was already done, and it doesn't run again. Say you messed up, or something's messed up, and you want to force it to run again. Is there a way to do that? Or, say you created a user and you forgot to include the groups, some extra groups, or
Well, when you change it again, or you add another directive, it'll add that it will run that directive. If you need to, but if you're saying that I have a user and I forgot to add it, it should be connected to 4 groups and it's only 3, and you need it to run again, you're going to have to run a user mod instead of a user add. One of the things I didn't talk about in here is the line and file module, which I spent a lot of time doing that to build things like mounts in FSTab and configurations for, like NTP configurations, postfix configurations. You know, set my smart host correctly, set my host host name correctly. But that stuff right now, I'm still working with the first time it worked but the next time I need to change it, and sometimes I get duplicate entries. So that's one of the things I'm still working on. It has not happened very often, but.
Are you pushing like syslog entries out to essential syslogs, or
Yes.
with that line example?
Yes. Another thing that it's got are the parsing and error report are supposed to be improvement. It's supposed to have a lot more suggestions about what you might be able to do to fix it, instead of just throwing in a YAML error. I got pretty good at YAML error parsing, so I'm looking forward not to doing this. There's a ton of new modules. There are a complete modules set for OpenStack. There are 30 new modules for AWS. Of course, everything is staying current. There's a DNF module instead of a YAML module. All those things, that's staying very current. Ansible books. There's been 3 books that I've read. One of them right here is, and this is my favorite, is of course an O'Reilly, Ansible Up and Running by Lauren Hochstein. It has, this one's strength is, I think, how to set things up properly so that you don't stub your toe by not keeping your directories and everything correct. Learning Ansible from Pact, I've also gone through, and Ansible for DevOps by Jeff Geerling. That's a lean pub publisher. So you can go into leanpub.com, I think. I don't know if it's com. But you can kind of set your price within ranges if you want to buy that. Online resources. Ansible.com is the main website. They have a very good set of documentation and examples. You can get a long, long way in going through that. The reason you would go back to a book instead of that is because you probably will get a condensed set of scenarios that will let you build your things a little more quickly than hunting through the documentation. But it's worthwhile sitting down and going through some of the modules and making sure all the things that you're going to do, that all the things you can do for some of the modules. Galaxy.ansible.com. All the roles that people have made that want to share with them are in a GitHub repository, and it's accessed to galaxy.ansible.com, and there are thousands of them. Online support, Google Groups has Ansible project. It's about 25 threads a day. Smart questions are answered.
What about dumb ones?
What?
What about dumb ones?
They're ignored.
Normal mailing list protocol.
Yeah. And there is also an Ansible announced Google group. What else can you do with Ansible besides some of the things everything I talked about tonight was Linux. There is a huge universe of AWS, DigitalOcean, Rackspace, lots of cloud modules and ability to enable, install, maintain cloud stuff. OpenStack, as I said, there were just a whole bunch of modules released for that. Docker, there's a lot of things. There's been a lot of articles and blogs on Docker with Ansible. Windows. With 2.0, there is a set of, according to them, a pretty big set of modules for manipulating and creating and configuring Windows. Now, my Windows guy, I told that the other day, and he kind of laughed at me while he was booking the next consultant from SCCM. But I haven't tried it. I haven't tried any of it yet. I have a lot more to learn on the Linux stuff before I worry about that. Network devices. Last month, with Red Hat and Cisco, a large set of modules for managing Cisco equipment was released.
Dun dun dun.
Yep. All the internets are going to be under this, and then who knows what they're going to come up with next. It seems to work pretty well. Juniper, sure. And that's it. We'll do one real quick thing. I'll say.
I don't get it.
It's a song. Okay. The little GUI thing is Tower, and it's expensive.
What is it?
Right.
PHP GUI for that.
You probably could make a secondary key.
So here we go. It's a module index.
Yeah.
If you wanted to look at a specific one, and so for right now, I kind of live in the system modules.
You can do anything.
Right, even shift. So all you're doing is writing.
There's cron management. There's, I bet there's sudo in here too. No sudo. How about that? CFS. But anyway, when you go through, extremely thorough, easy to get to. Once you learn how to, when you know what you're searching for, you really can usually get there. Here's Galaxy. Quick roll. MySQL. There are 117 different ways to work with MySQL that people have that published. Network interface. Haven't looked at that yet. Memcache.
Redis.
Okay. So those are the two. Those are the big two websites. Cool. And that's it. Thank you.
Will you share the link to your presentation on the mailing?
Yes.
Thank you.
One question, but can you install Ansible right out of Young?
Yes. Should be an EPL. It's an EPL. You have to put an EPL release first.
Zero. The real question, what are they going to get to find out 3 that we got?
Nirvana is always one release away. So
How's it work if it's faster than mine?
we'll probably meet here again next month. I'll make the changes on the website. Ironically,
Can we get our own door put in?
yeah, I wish. Ironically, yeah, we get our own pizza oven. Right after I sent an email out about the room change, the website went down. But it came back up about 30 minutes
last
later.
month, I didn't get like
I got called.
notice that we weren't going to be
Okay.
here. Went to my spam folder. I was trying to get my car up that ramp. It sucked.
Sorry, man. At least you weren't on the moped. I didn't even try.
I didn't even.
My wife wouldn't let me try.
Got stuck like halfway up the.
Okay, this ends the video portion. Thank you. Good night.